What's up, guys? Pepe here with an update on the NSX now. Seats. So I bought after some review. There's three brands basically. I think that they make, maybe there's more, but that they make interiors for NSXs. Are these guys, then rides, and then leather seats. There must be more. Well, so rides and leather seats, they have other options. They have different options and other colors than these guys. These guys don't have that many colors, and they have Napa leather, which is kind of like I think is the softer part of the leather of the cow or something like that. I'm not an expert, but I have Napa leather in samples. My uncle used to sell leather for Mercedes, Porsche, etc. in Latin America. And I got leather done, seats done for my Saab back in Chile, where I'm from. And the leather is much softer, very, very delicate. So like if you have jeans or you have keys in the back, actually you could scratch the leather, and that's full Napa leather. It's very soft, very supple, super nice to the touch. This thing is old and is only leather in certain parts where it touches the body, basically, which is that, and that. I think that's leather. The bottom side, I think, is leather, and everything else is vinyl. Now, the leather here, this one, is very similar to the one I bought from those guys. But you can't really tell how new leather is because you need to touch it when it's new. So you can't compare a 20-year-old leather with a brand new leather that has the same texture or feeling. So leather is one of those things that when it gets old, you just have to change it. You can do reconditioning and all that. This seat, as you can see, is not that bad. This is a passenger seat, which usually is the better seat of all. But it had some mold built up that was clean, but it's dry. It's dry. It cracks. It sounds different. When you squeeze it, it makes wrinkles, and you can tell right away that it's an old leather, of course. Now, I can't really tell if this is Napa leather or is the same as those. The grain is very, very similar. I'm going to show you. Well, this, I got the perforated version. So the leather is of course, it's new, so it's much more supple than the one in the seat right now, and the grain is different. So you see, the grain is not the same. You might find a grain like this, maybe with luck. If this is leather, you might find it. But for what I was told by my uncle, was that over the years, depending on how the leather production is, they don't actually go back and make this type of leather for small runs. They always make tons of leather, and so if the grain changes over time, and they make this type of leather, basically you're going to find this leather everywhere in the world. Brazil makes a lot of leather. Pakistan makes a lot of leather. So and that's where the leather comes from now. So to find this same grain is hard. I think it's still possible, but it's hard. So this is the grain you get. Not quite the same. I don't care. It's going to look amazing no matter what. The color, you can tell. You see, that's kind of like oily leather. This is black. This is how it's supposed to look like. Doesn't look like shiny. This is after people cleaned it with conditioners and all that. Leather, you are not supposed to put any conditioner in it ever. That was I was told by people making seats professionally, one of the best You polish places in Latin America, which is in Chile. It's called San Jose. They're very well known. They made a lot of cars. They won awards and stuff like that. Well, down there, of course. And those guys said, if you want to clean leather, we have been cleaning leather for 60 years. You just put a bottle with water, spray the rag with it, not damp or dripping, and then you just clean it. As long as you do that, once a week or twice a week, that's all it needs. If you start putting oily stuff, this kind of stuff is going to happen. You see the cracks there? Going to dry it up. The material is going to close the pores of the leather. Is not going to breathe, and so this is how it looks like after many years of stuff putting on top of it and so on. Leather has to breathe. Is organic material, and it's going to degrade as any organic material. So anyhow, I'm not an expert, but that's what I was told by experts. So I trust them more than me. So I follow the instructions. So what I'm doing right now is I am taking it apart. I'm super surprised how light these seats are, because I have a set of Recaro made 4SAB 9,000 seats, which I was told to be, or a lot of people have been told that they are the most comfortable seats ever made by Recaro for a mass production car, which is a SAB 9000. They're super, super comfortable seats. They wrap around, but they must be 100 pounds more than these seats. Those seats requires two people. If you try to put them by yourself, you're going to cut your hands, damage the interior or something. They're so heavy. And they're all ultra, the bottom of the seat is welded. It's crazy. These things are so bloody light. It's crazy. Anyhow, so I put it here in the living room. Of course, my wife is really happy about it. But I want to put at least this one together. The idea is, and this is my recommendation for you people, is that if you do any seats, no matter what it is, you want to take the passenger seat out, look how it's installed, take tons of pictures, look at where these things are. This one is broken, which explains why this was so loose. The new seats come with a new one, of course. These are kind of clips that they wrap around the edge of a piece of metal I'm going to show you. But so you take the passenger seat out. Usually passenger seats are not as used. And the idea is that you take the passenger seat out and you look the shape of the rubber, the foam. And so why I say that, when I come out of the driver's side, I put my elbow here. And if you go in the passenger side, no one will actually lean on this side, no? But they will lean on this one, as you can see for the cracks, you see? So this one is not that cracked, yeah, because this is elbow grease and all that in here that basically clog the leather, and over time that's what happens. So this piece of foam has been crushed many times, so it might not be the same shape. So what is the problem? The problem is these things are made in a template, which may be for a new seat, which means that if this foam retracted over the years, because that's what happened with foam, this one is going to fit loose here. If that's the case, then what you have to do is to buy closed cell foam or injected foam in a roll or something, and you glue it against it so that you fill the gap and it looks like a new one. Passenger seats are in better shape, so you do it with the passenger seat. You don't do it with the driver's seat. So you always take the passenger seat out, you take a look really well how everything fits, and then when you go and do you do this one first, you put the new leather in, you make sure everything fits really tight and is nice. It doesn't have to be super tight. As you see, this one was installed in the factory with wrinkles. So that's how it's supposed to look like. So here too, you know, this is loose over time, true, but the wrinkles were there from the factory. So you don't want it really tight. That's how it looks originally, okay? So you take it apart, you put the, maybe you are going to have to do it two, 3 times. You put the new leather in, you make it look nice, it's all straight, it fits here. The seam is in the same place, in the same location and all that. That's like kind of a bit tricky where this sits and so on, and how this is tied here and so on. So you do all that, which takes tons of time. And if you have time to put this on, a trick is to put a plastic bag, very thin plastic, on top of the foam, and then that's how you slide it down. That's what I did in my other seats. It worked perfectly. There is another material I can't remember. It's like a white type of cloth, kind of like breaks down. It's not a cloth, but it's I don't know what it's called. But basically, they put it on here, so when they slide it in, this doesn't actually, you know, has tons of frictions against it. So you can actually slide it in. I don't think this is a problem with this, or maybe with this either, because there is a different way of how it's done on this seat. But other seats where the whole skin of the back of the seat is one piece, is really hard to go through the foam against it. But anyways, that's a trick. So anyhow, so once you fit all that and you make sure everything aligns and looks really good, then you take the driver's seat and you make it look like this one, basically. And the idea is that if you see that this corner, the driver's corner will be that. This is how it's supposed to look like. You see it's straight, you know, and this one is a little bit crashed. So maybe you end up with a gap here. So you may end up wanting to put a very thin, I mean, they sell like 2 millimeter foam, like it's nothing, to glue it against it inside of the old foam. So when you put the skin in, boom, it looks super smooth. One trick though, you can't really put a piece here like a square, because otherwise it's going to show. There's absolutely no way not to show it. So if you are going to put foam, you have to make sure you actually cover from the seam all the way back here. So like if you decide that this is too loose, you're going to have to cut a piece that basically fits here, in here, or this piece, this whole piece here. Why? Otherwise it's going to show. So the trick is that the foam ends where the seam is, because the seam is going to crash it against it. You're not going to see it. But if you leave the foam here, you're going to see like a step here. It's going to go like straight, and then the foam, boop, so it's going to like go high here, and it's going to look bad. So don't do that. You always cut a whole piece. Like I remember my SAV seats, this part was really bad. So basically I had to actually fill it with a 1/4 inch foam. So it was this very similar to this, 3 pieces, and this piece I had 3 pieces of 1/4 inch, this one 2 and this one 1, and that's how I make it look like originally was. So I got pictures from a car that was in a museum, never driven, and I looked at how the wrinkles were and so on, and that's how I made it basically look the same. And based on the passenger seat, that I had a passenger seat of a car that had like 53,000 K. So anyhow, that's a trick on seats, to take seats apart. There is hog rings sometimes. I don't know about this one. I watched a video at some point a long time ago of how to take this apart, but it's very intuitive. I think, you know, there is this clips, rivets, plastic thingies here, and the seat is bolted against this, so at some point it's going to come out. This has to come out, of course. So I'm going to take these things off. You know, I think it's somewhat self-explanatory, but there is few people that took the seat apart, maybe not so much detail, so I'm going to try to explain a little bit more. So I am going to take a video of that. So I'm going to do this. I need my 2 hands. No tripod yet. I bought one. I mean, bought an adapter for my tripod. I had a tripod, but so I can do a time lapse so you guys can see it. But basically I'm going to take this off first and see how it goes.